Now at 5, offering a little relief at the gas pump.
The gas tax break that now is in effect and the savings you can now expect on your next fill up.
Our weather is really warming up when we get close to 80 and some rain chances in the 7-day.
Martinsville police now looking into a shooting that left a teenager hospitalized. I'm Samantha Johnson. We have the latest on the investigation still ahead.
You'll soon notice gas prices drop a little across central Indiana.
That's because Indiana Governor Mike Braun today signed an executive order, in effect suspending the state sales tax on gasoline. Emily Longnecker joins us now live with how this is going to work. Emily?
Hi, ladies. Yeah, this is a 30-day holiday on the gas sales tax, meaning for 30 days, Hoosiers will not have to pay sales tax on the gas that they buy when they fill up their vehicles at the pump. You could see the impact on what you pay at the pump by early next week, if not sooner. The governor is calling on gas retailers to make sure the savings gets passed on to the consumer and says the state will make sure that happens. There are two kinds of taxes Hoosiers pay at the pump. One is the sales tax on gas, which the governor is suspending by declaring this emergency. That sales tax changes with the price of gas. There's also something called an excise tax. That's a flat per gallon tax that doesn't change. The governor was asked if he considers suspending that too, something that would require lawmakers' approval.
Anything lawmakers would need to do, of course, we'd have to come into session to do it, and I would welcome them to look at it. This is action I can take on my own, and I hope they're going to support it, because if not, they're misreading what we need to do. Anything more comprehensive or beyond the emergency portion of what I can do as governor, it would take that kind of action.
House Democrats say they support this suspension and also say they asked for something similar in 2022.
This is what Hoosiers need right now, is to suspend the gas tax because of the gas being over $4 a gallon. The economic impact of it is yet to be seen, but we know there is some relief, and we're very supportive of that. It is about
Now, after this 30 days is over, Governor Braun says he'll assess the situation and possibly look at extending the suspension on this sales tax for another 30 days, but he says there are no guarantees on that. Now, today's move comes with some support from several Republican lawmakers. There were several Republican senators that were calling on the governor to suspend this sales tax on gas. Many feel and said that the state has some reserves. They have money in their savings, and they felt like the state had the money that they could do this and give this kind of relief to Hoosiers. And that was a sentiment, again, echoed by Democrats. Representative Greg Porter said the same thing this afternoon. And Felicia?
All right, Emily Longnecker reporting live for us tonight. Now, keep in mind on the national level, some lawmakers are also trying to provide some relief at the gas pump.
2 Democratic senators are co-sponsoring the Gas Prices Relief Act, and it would suspend the federal gas tax, which is currently a little more than 18 cents a gallon, through October 1st. There's a similar measure in the House.
At a cabinet meeting just last week, President Trump says he's thought about suspending the federal gas tax, but then said it should be up to the states.
The president cannot suspend the federal tax on his own. Congress would need to approve it. And you can check out the lowest gas prices across central Indiana on our website.
All you have to do is go to WTHR.com/gas prices. And at last check there, we saw gasoline for $3.65 in Noblesville and $3.79 in Indy. An update now. Following a ceasefire with Iran, oil prices plunged below $95 a barrel today. But now, not even 24 hours after the announcement, Iran has once again closed the Strait of Hormuz. And this is in response, we're told, to an Israeli attack on Lebanon.
Iran is also claiming the U.S. has violated parts of the negotiation framework. Gary Grumbach has a look at how President Trump's administration is responding.
Day one of a fragile ceasefire and the White House declaring the war with Iran a success.
This is a victory for the United States of America that the president and our incredible military made happen.
The administration preparing for talks in Pakistan to bring an end to the 6-week-old conflict.
The president is dispatching his negotiating team, led by the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Witkoff, and Mr. Kushner to Islamabad for talks this weekend.
In an early morning Truth Social post, President Trump writing big day for world peace, and that the U.S. will help ease the traffic tie-up in the Strait of Hormuz, the important waterway at the center of negotiations. Vice President Vance discussing the plan in Hungary.
The Iranians have agreed to open up the straits. The United States has agreed to stop attacking. And that, not just the United States, but also our allies, have agreed to stop attacking. And that is the basis of this fragile truce that we have.
But in Iran, a different message. Iranians celebrating what their government calls a win, saying Trump backed off his threat to wipe out a whole civilization. Iranian state media saying its country proposed a 10-point plan that calls for complete control over the Strait of Hormuz and for U.S. forces to leave the region. The White House proposing a very different 15-point plan.
The president will only make a deal that serves in the best interests of the United States of America, so long as the Strait of Hormuz remains open.
That internationally used waterway has reportedly been closed again because Israel has continued its assault on Lebanon, according to a semi-official news agency affiliated with the Revolutionary Guard. Israel claiming their attacks on Hezbollah in Lebanon should not impact the ceasefire. If Vice President Vance goes to Pakistan for talks with Iran, he'll be the highest-ranking U.S. official to visit the Middle East country since Vice President Biden traveled there in 2011. The last U.S. president to visit the country was George W. Bush in 2006. Gary Grumbach, NBC News, Washington.
NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas will continue our coverage of the conflict with Iran tonight at 6:30 here on Channel 13.
Breaking news on the east side. Big traffic delays, all because of this.
And this is a live look at I-465 northbound. That's where 4 lanes have been closed just north of 56th Street after a crash.
So it's causing quite a backup there. We're told that some diesel fuel spilled, so they needed time to clean it up. State police said at one point the traffic was backed up for more than 5 miles. So this is between US 36, Pendleton Pike, and East 71st Street on the east side right now. I would reroute if you're trying to go up on the east side, and if you're coming from downtown, you might want to reroute to Benford Boulevard instead. Or even take 70 out and then go north up through Oleo if you're trying to get to the northeast side, Angela.
Yes, we are in rush hour. Sean was talking about this. 4 lanes of traffic in that area closed and 1 lane open. So it is going to be slow going there on the east side. Promised you yesterday this would be the map of the day. We're almost 20 warmer from this time yesterday. We're up 20 in Richmond, 19 warmer in Indianapolis and Shelbyville, and it's 23 degrees warmer from this time yesterday in Kokomo. Kokomo at 66, Indianapolis at 67. We do have some 70s on the map, including Bloomington, Greencastle, and Terre Haute. Everyone's going to be in the 70s tomorrow. A mild evening. We'll spend most of the evening in the middle and upper 60s. Not as cold. Some sun, some clouds. Probably don't need that coat at the bus stop tomorrow morning. Temperatures will be in the mid 50s, and from there we near 70 degrees at noon tomorrow with highs in the 70s. We will look ahead to a Friday rain chance in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Angela. And we want to let you know you can now stream our new live local radar whenever you want. It's on WTHR Plus. It is free.
And developing tonight here at 5, an investigation into a shooting on the south side in Martinsville. In the end, a teen boy went to the hospital.
Samantha Johnson tells us that police are still working to figure out who did it.
The neighborhood around the historic Morgan house is typically pretty quiet, but Tuesday night,
they had everything all taped off.
The apartment complex turned into a crime scene. A teenager shot.
Either the back parking lot or him right there in between the 2 buildings.
And police say all the people involved are teens.
At this time, we have a juvenile victim and juvenile suspect as well as witnesses.
On Wednesday, the leasing office closed. police still trying to figure out who pulled the trigger in the middle of this neighborhood and how old those teens are.
I just hope a little boy pulls through, because I hate seeing anybody get hurt.
Tuesday's shooting, of course, caught the attention of Martinsville Mayor Kenny Costin, who shared a statement reading in part, quote, "Any act of violence involving our youth is unacceptable. As a community, we must continue working together to ensure our young people have the guidance, support, and safe environment they deserve."
So as the investigation continues, neighbors and police now sharing a message to parents.
That's parents not doing their job and locking the stuff up.
We just encourage them to know where their kids are, know where they are, know what they're doing, who their friends are, and who they're hanging out with is a really huge thing.
The Morgan County Major Crimes Task Force is now investigating. In Martinsville, Samantha Johnson, 13 News.
Now, at last check, the boy who was shot is stable at an Indianapolis hospital. Investigators say they believe this was a targeted shooting. They say there is no ongoing threat in that neighborhood.
Now to the northeast side, where right now police in Lawrence tell 13 News they're searching for a driver who's accused of hitting a man and then taking off.
It happened Saturday night near Post Road in Pendleton Pike. Tonight, the victim's girlfriend is speaking out, urging that driver to come forward.
Our Ashton Hackman has what happened and what comes next.
This video shared with 13 News shows the moment it happened, 11 Saturday night at Pendleton Pike and Post Road. Police say Leo Vasquez was crossing outside the light when an eastbound SUV hit him, throwing him several feet and taking off. His girlfriend says the 20-year-old suffered head and spine injuries and was hospitalized. Now they just want the driver found.
He knows that he was crossing in the wrong time, but that still didn't give them the right to hit and run him. If you can hit a human and not have the heart to stop, you shouldn't have keys. You shouldn't have a vehicle.
Police say fault doesn't matter. Drivers are required to stop and help, something they say that should have happened in this situation.
Regardless of who's at fault, whether it's you or the pedestrian, it is important by state law that you remain on scene. Like I said, render that assistance to those people and just wait for the police.
Lawrence police are still investigating this hit and run crash. They're asking anyone with information to give them a call. In Lawrence, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
Now here in Indiana, leaving the scene of a crash can mean a misdemeanor if it's just property damage. But if someone is hurt or killed, that quickly can escalate to a felony.
The state of children in Marion County.
The areas that need improvements ahead here as our news continues at 5:30. But first at 5, the month of May just weeks away. And today, Dom goes one-on-one with one of our favorite drivers in IndyCar, Scott Dixon.
And returning to Earth with the Artemis II crew is bringing with them from deep space. Next.